We've had more than a year in which Trump's preferred rage incitement device has been taken out of his hands. But that may be coming to an end soon. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla and the richest man in the world, is moving ahead with his agreement to purchase Twitter. And one of the only clues we have as to what Elon Musk will change when he takes over is that he has suggested he would reverse Trump's Twitter ban, saying, quote, "It was not correct to ban Donald Trump." Musk considers himself a, quote, free speech absolutist, and whatever that means. The people who've been deplatformed from Twitter have been celebrating the possibility of Elon Musk's takeover since he first offered to buy Twitter this spring.
I am cautiously optimistic about the prospects for Twitter now that Elon Musk has taken over. I don't know Mr. Musk, but I do invite him to come talk with me in Washington, D.C. I'd be happy to put together a roundtable of all the most brilliant people who have been unjustly banned from Twitter.
Those brilliant people, according to Marjorie Taylor Greene, include the likes of conspiracy theorist Alex Jones and far-right troll Milo Yiannopoulos. All of them, plus Donald Trump, could be back on Twitter before the midterms. What could go wrong? Joining us now is Kara Swisher, editor-at-large of New York Magazine, co-founder of Recode, and host of the Pivot podcast. Kara, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thanks, Alex.
So it seems from the reporting that Musk's purchase of Twitter could be imminent. How do you read the tea leaves on this?
Oh, it's going to happen unless the financing falls through. There's a couple of areas they could if the court and Musk's lawyers don't agree on how to do this. There's that way. The court really wants to make sure that they don't adjourn this trial before a deal is done. And so there's some small things, but it's a lot of money, $44 billion. And so he's got to make sure he's got the commitments that he needs.
Do we have a sense of how he would practically go about changing the company and moderating what it is now? I mean, does he get rid of the truth and safety teams? Does he just do a wholesale clearing of house? Is that what you would expect from him?
No, I don't think that. I don't think he's going to do a wholesale anything. I do think he's letting on Donald Trump. He said it. He didn't suggest it. He said it, and he believes it. He said it to me before, and so I think he thought it was a mistake, and he's going to bring him back on. And of course, he'll be under strictures. He has said that if he does more of the violent incitement, that'll knock him off again. But I think he's very intent on allowing as many people possible on that platform.
Can I ask though, what you just said? If he does the violent incitement, that'll knock him off again. What is the standard there? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's so much that Donald Trump tweets that is violent. I mean, even tweets at Mitch McConnell. Like, who's going to determine that threshold? Right. Do you have a sense of how high Elon Musk's tolerance is for something like that?
Have you looked at his Twitter feed? Quite high. It's quite high. He probably thinks those are jokes. It'll be up to him. He'll control the company. I think it's at 78% or some number. He's going to control the company. So whatever he thinks it is will be what it is, which is a tendency to sort of say whatever you feel like in the moment.
I guess I would ask you when he has forecasted a new kind of Twitter that is going to be much friendlier to right-wing ideologues. What is the reaction to that inside? Well, to some degree, yes, right? I mean, he's been unabashed in his I won't say praise, but his belief that Donald Trump should have a voice and should be back on Twitter. Is there a sense within Silicon Valley that social media needs to be more friendly to right-wing voices? I guess I wonder if this is an ideology in search of a business model, or whether there is a thinking inside Silicon Valley that right-wing voices have become too marginalized and need to be more mainstreamed.
I don't think he thinks of it that way. Silicon Valley is different. There's more conservative people in Silicon Valley than you think. More libertarian light is what I like to call them. Almost no values whatsoever. They'll take whatever it takes to do what they want to do. That's pretty much their philosophy. But I think in Elon's case, you never know what he's going to do. I can't imagine he'd think Marjorie Taylor Greene is fantastic. It's just not. He doesn't like to pin himself down. Now he's been expressing more. I don't like the Democrats, or he's talked about being a centrist where most of the country is. He could go anywhere. I know they celebrate him, but he could turn on them at any point if he feels like it at any one moment.
What about Twitter employees? I guess I wonder, there's been talk that some of them would resign en masse if Trump gets deplatformed, depending on what Musk does in his leadership capacity. Yeah. Is that a problem for him, or are there enough people in Silicon Valley that would be happy to work for a new revamped Musk Twitter?
Well, he'll find people. Don't worry. He's Elon Musk. He definitely runs 2 other companies or 3 or however many he has that are very popular to work at, both Tesla and SpaceX, very important companies, actually. So I think he'll probably attract a lot of people. I think it's just, you just don't know what he's going to do. That's the problem with Elon. You never know what he's going to say. And actually, I'm always surprised by various and sundry things he says. Some of it's quite conservative. Some of it's very liberal. Some of it's just crazy. Some of it's silly. And so you just don't know. And I think that a lot of people at Twitter will leave. And that's the way it's going to be. If you don't like Elon Musk, you really shouldn't work at Twitter.
Yeah. What about Facebook? Yeah. I mean, Facebook also took Trump off its platform, but that was not a permanent ban. Yeah. And that sort of, it is up for reconsideration, I believe, in January of 2023. Which means Trump could be back on Twitter in time for a potential presidential bid. Can you read the signs on that potential decision in any way at this juncture?
Well, it's not going to be made by Mark Zuckerberg. Apparently, Nick Clegg, who is essentially his number 2, it feels like that right now, is going to make that decision. He said that publicly in a recent interview. I don't know. I think they'll consider it. They'll probably bring him back, would be my guess. YouTube is also sort of put him in. I'm not really clear what it is. They put him just non-permanent banning. And so we'll see what they do. I think if Elon wasn't getting Twitter, the current management would not bring him back on, because why bother? They've already taken the hit. But if Elon comes back, he doesn't mind taking a hit. And so at Facebook's case, I'm not clear what they're going to do. They're going to watch him carefully for sure. Putting him back on seems probably what's going to happen.
So Trump could be operating full throttle on all of these social media platforms. What of Truth Social? Yeah. Does Truth Social, does that hurt Trump's bottom line? Where does that just sort of go softly into the night, or what do you think the future holds for that?
Well, that's that little violin of a social media site. It doesn't hurt his bottom line. It's not making any money. It's losing money. It's a disaster. It's a financial and operational disaster run by famous technologist Devin Nunes. It's not going to matter at all in any way. That thing's going away, or in some fashion. The SPAC is in trouble. It's being investigated. There's vendors that are mad. It's typical, your typical Trump business. So I think he'll be happy to be back on Twitter. He'll abandon it in a New York minute, and he'll be back on Twitter screaming away as he likes to do. The thing is, let me just be clear, it might not work. People might be tired of this, right? Just like The Apprentice was very popular. I watched that every season, and then it suddenly got tiresome. He may become very tiresome, and more Trump is not necessarily good for the Republican Party. It's sort of, you get tired of him and weary, and I think a lot more people might happen if he gets more of a voice.
I would dare say more Trump is not good for the Republican Party, but what do I know? Kara Swisher, editor-at-large of New York Magazine, co-founder of Recode, and host of the Pivot podcast. Thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks a lot.